Sealing our bone flap. In the future, this nice cart is going to be your bone flap storage cart. Inside the cart will be the paperwork that the nurse needs to fill out, some bags to seal the bone flap, and then also we're going to put in there the process about you need 2 bags to send it down to the lab, and then also the instructions are going to be in the cart. So we just got the cart yesterday, so we haven't had a chance to put it together. This is the sealer. It's going to live on the cart. So friends, please don't take a marker and change the settings on here. It's supposed to be on 4. Don't somebody put a mark for 6. It doesn't belong on 6. Because if you put it on too high of a setting, then it's going to burn the bag, and then the bag is not, and then you contaminate the bone flap. One good thing about, there is not an instance, maybe the only time we would send a flap down to pathology is if the case turns into a coroner case. So your tissue, your bone flap will only be going back in the patient to the tissue bank. I can't say how many times we've sent it down to pathology if it's a coroner case, but so your tissue, your bone flap goes to the 3rd floor, not pathology in the basement, the 3rd floor. So before you send your tissue to the tissue bank, you would call them, and on here there are 2 numbers. The first number is 54635, that's the actual tissue bank. And sometimes on the weekend, the second number is the blood bank. They're one and the same. So if you get there and nobody's in the tissue bank, the person in the blood bank will help you with your tissue. Okay, so to get started, so the next caveat, the bone flap does not need to be sealed if you need to take your patient up to the PICU. That's more important, getting your patient stabilized. So what the surgical tech, when you come back, they're going to leave their back table sterile, and then the bone flap can be sealed at that point. So it's no rush to get the bone flap sealed. You just need not to break down your table so it can be sealed sterilely. So the first thing we want to do, we want to plug our machine in. Got a machine plugged in, and then your circulator is going to open your bags. This is primarily the bag we use, I'd say 98% of the time. We have never had a bone flap that could fit in this. The only time we would use this, they're probably out of this one. Okay, so the first step, I'm not gonna open these bags because they're very expensive. So I have made some little bags we can practice with. I'm going to mimic opening this to my sterile fill. These are my bags. And here's my bags. So as you notice, there's 3 bags in here. 2 bags have a rounded end. Those are the 2 bags that your bone flap would be sealed in, and then the flat bag is just going to be used to help seal it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to act like you just want to take like the gross tissue off your bone flap. You don't have to give it a Calgon bath. Just take all the debris off of it. And then the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put it in the first small bag that's a rounded bag. And then Felicia will use my circulator. So I'm sterile and Felicia's not sterile. So here's my bone flap in my bag. I'm gonna take it and put it in this side of the sealer bag. So what we wanna do, we wanna seal across the bottom of the bag that your flap is in. So I'm gonna put it here, and I'm sterile.
And I'm unsterile, so I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna.
She's gonna push it down.
You should hear a click.
And then I'm just gonna hold it on my end. So then it's sterile. She's gonna pull that bag off. And then I'm gonna put it in my second rounded bag. And then I'm gonna put it in here again. Then I'm going to hand it to my circulator.
I got on gloves.
And then we have our first bag. She's going to put it in. This bag has ice in it.
Put a label on this. Label, 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 every layer. So this is full of ice. We're halfway full of ice. label on this, I'm gonna put a label on this. And cause when you have a bag full of ice, what's gonna happen? So guess what we're gonna do? Put another bag in. And guess what we're gonna put on outside of this bag? There you go. Another label. We ready to go to the tissue bank. Not yet though, we got to do our paperwork. This is the form. We have these in OR 9, OR 12, and they're also kept at the front desk. I put a packet in OR 9 and 12 for just quick tips of how you do the bone flap. I also did a cheat sheet for the form. It goes over everything and what you hit. You never want to do you all want to do -70 Celsius frozen. And do we want to culture? We're here no. Okay? Then if you look at the bottom, it says top copy, which is the white copy, goes in the patient record. The blue copy sent to the where?
Tissue bank,
What floor?
3rd floor.
Do it go to the first floor?
No.
What if they don't answer the phone at the tissue bank, blood bank? What we gonna do?
Walk there anyway.
Thank you. Somebody gonna put this in the freezer. Even if you have to call the house supervisor. Somebody gonna put this in that freezer in the tissue bank, okay? All right? Any questions about this? So, another thing, when you do send this to the tissue bank, it's ready to go. I take about 4 labels and I send extra, just in case. Some that other hospital didn't do that we got that bone flap from. But we the best, so we send extra labels.
Alright, so just, even if you're in a pinch and you don't remember, everybody has a phone. Here's a QR code about everything we went over, a video of how to seal the bone flap. There's another page of step by step on how to use the bone flap. And then on the back, there are pictures on how to seal the bone flap.
And there are written instructions.
How to seal the bone flap.
So like I said, I put one of these in OR 9 and OR 12. It's on the O-ring. I know the O-ring got a lot of stuff on it, but this is added to it as well.
And then it'll cost of being our cart. Then for nurses, your documentation, what you're gonna be documenting in Epic, there's also a sheet for that also about how do you document this in Epic, part of your documentation. Unfortunately, these cases probably are primarily on the weekends. An instance where you may have to seal your bone flap, epidural hematomas, trauma, car accidents, unfortunately ruptured AVMs, all those cases, you will need to seal your bone flap. Like Felicia said, the neurosurgeons, I'm sorry, do not know how to help you with this process. The only person that knows how to do that is Dr. Rubel, so don't be looking at Dr. Sabel to help you seal your bone flap. He's gonna be looking at you funny like, what you want me to do? So, but yeah, fortunately Dr. Rubel, but 9 times 10, that's not who you're gonna have. So that's why it's important that you learn this yourself. We have these bags. If people need to come up to practice, we would encourage that so you can see the process.